Hello. My name is Hussain. My problem is I care too much. Now, the following may leave your mind state in a twirl. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the inconvenience, but I'm trying to change the world. I said, dear mum, I wasn't meant for this planet. No, mum, you did everything you could, so please don't panic. No one likes me. I think I might as well vanish. See, I write stories. I write them on my arm. Only I can read them, but the doctor calls it self-harm. Now, when I bleed, he tells me to put on a plaster. But I'm depressed inside. There is no bandage for this internal disaster. But it's all right, mum, I found a cure. You see, I'm not alone. The calling's come. I believe God's calling me home. But what about our soldiers, mum? What about the state of their minds? The flashbacks of deaths and the sounds of cries. How can we expect our soldiers to have a healthy state of mind? Negative soldier, good job, but access denied. And my sisters, I'm with you all until the end. Over 100 million are currently living with the consequences of FGM. Female mutilation, to me, that's psychological poverty. The inhumane, degrading treatment of gender inequality in their stranded boats. High waves, abandoned homes, lack of aid, and the refugees, I can feel their pain, and the sanctuary of their mind is something we need to save. And when I talk of mum, I ain't talking about my mum, I'm talking about Mother Nature. She created us all, so together surely we should be greater. But mentally where we stand, I am not in favor, and to me that problem couldn't be any greater. And some people go, oh, Hussain, you think you're going too deep. To be honest, I don't think I've said enough. All we ever do is put 2p in a McDonald's box or $1 in a homeless person's cup. Thinking I can't do nothing, but it's all right because me and my family give £2 a month. Well, there's one thing more, and that thing is called love. Now, some of us, we love ourselves too much. We're in love with ourselves, and some don't love at all, and that problem is itself. So, humanity, where did you go? And why on earth are you lost? If it's money that you're after, I'm struggling to see why you come with a cost. Is there not enough for you to come back to? Does nobody see what I see? I think it's very simple, but it's clear we all agree to disagree. So let me get this straight. We can sail across the Atlantic, let's send a man to the moon, let's discover life on Mars, but certain children in certain countries can't even access food. None of this makes sense to me, and I don't know if it makes sense to you, but to me it's where the problem stems, and the answer is so simple, it's overdue. We need to learn how to love. We need to infect it in our minds. We need to run it through our cities. We need to push it through our tribes, and only then will our one young world learn how to survive. I said my name is Hussain. My problem is I clearly care too much. The previous may have left your mind state in a twirl, but do not expect an apology for any of the inconvenience, because I'm really here to change the world. Thank you. This is weird, like, roaming around like this. I feel like I'm on a talk show. Can one of you sing? And I'm like, it's the voice. All right, so my name is Hussain. I'm from Ilford. Way! No one likes it. I'm 26, getting old, and I campaign. What? I don't get it. Oh, what? Did I offend anyone? Anyway, listen, it's okay. All right. I campaign for mental health. I write poetry, obviously. And I'll give you a little bit about my story and why mental health is so important to me. But I want to start with a quote. I went to Amsterdam recently to actually study, believe it or not. And I went to study the relationship of Vincent van Gogh and his brother Theodorus van Gogh. And one thing I love is wordplay and expression and letters and everything like that. So I discovered a quote that Theo wrote to his brother, Vincent, and he said, "We are brothers, are we not? And we may candidly say what we think." And that time, I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of years ago it was, but when they wrote that, when Theo wrote that to Vincent, it showed me Vincent had severe mental health problems, and his brother was trying to help him in the best way he could, and the way he communicated with him was via letters. And in that day and age, expression clearly helped them too, and they were two of the greatest artists of our time. Now, in this day and age where we're so connected, I believe we're as equally disconnected, if not even more. It's easier to connect with somebody across the world than it is across the room, and I don't understand that. So I went to uni down the road, actually, Westminster, and got a degree in quantity surveying, which was dry. I didn't do it. And I graduated, and I ended up getting a job at Coca-Cola, which was cool. And after that, I decided to make a YouTube channel, because I conformed to what every other 21-year-old was doing in my life. And it did well. It built a nice following. And then from there, I felt like I wasn't giving enough of me to the world. And I think I see and I hear all the time, yeah, millennials are so powerful and this and that. So I felt like, what am I actually doing to help the world? And the answer was nothing. So I entered this competition. It was a global search by a talent management company called Kruger-Cowan, open to 90 countries, 30,000 people entered it. Bob Geldof, Spaceship Earth grants, an astronaut from NASA were all amongst the judging panel. And I won. Way! And the reason I won was because they said, if you could change the world, what would you do with it, and how would you impact change and all of that? And I performed that piece at the start. And the reason I did that is because I got inspired by something I saw on Instagram. And it said, if you speak to a person in a language they know, it goes to their head. If you speak to them in a language they understand, it goes to their heart. One thing I learned about mental health is each case of mental health to an individual person is so bespoke and it's so sensitive and has to be treated as an individual thing. It's not something we can just generalize for everybody and say, oh, look, if you break your leg 6 weeks and you'll be all right. Every case has to be dealt with in particular detail. So I used this speech and said this, and then when I won the award, I said, if you're suffering through mental health, it's absolutely fine. Welcome to the club. There's 7 billion of us. So we've all pretty heard the stat, what mental health affects 1 in 4 people. My theory is we all know 3 people, so technically it affects all of us, because if you care about someone in your life, that will affect you. And I've been in plenty of situations, and going to what we were saying at the start of this event about being honest. I've experienced mental health issues, and I'm currently experiencing mental health issues, not only individually, but by a series of people around me. And not being able to help somebody is sometimes the most hardest thing to deal with in your life. So that's why I decided to dedicate my life to raising awareness for such a cause. And then I thought, instead of just talking about it and saying, yeah, let's do this, whatever, I wanted to make a change. So one thing I worked on quite recently was partnering with King's College, because they're experts in mental health. I'm not an expert, as you can probably tell. And we set the world record for the world's largest mental health lesson. So it was a Guinness World Record attempt. It had never been done before. And the aim of it was to educate 550 young people on what is depression, what is anxiety. Before they entered the room, we said, could you name 3 mental health charities? None of them could. When they left, they could. How to ask for help, where to go to for help, how not to be offended if you're asking for help and someone bats an eyelid, and not read too much into a conversation, and things like that. And we managed to set it. And for me, that was empowering, because these young people are now the world record holders of this mass participation lesson, which is breaking the stigma of it for them. And one thing I realized working a lot with young people, they're exposed to so much. And I think we don't really realize that as the older we get. And sometimes I go into a school and someone will be like, oh, where do you buy your trainers from? And you're telling me where you buy your trainers, and then the next question will be so deep, like, oh yeah, I slipped my wrist. And it's just switched so quick, and you're like, how do you handle this conversation? And I can't blame teachers, because I think teachers have got enough to deal with at the moment. I think it's down to us as people and as humans of the earth to come together and find collaborative solutions for our young people today. I'm going to finish with another poem, more of a light-hearted one. I loved school. School was my best. You know, my mum always used to say to me, oh, growing up will be the best days of your lives. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You never really believe it until you've grown up. And now I'm saying it to kids these days, and they're looking at me saying, yeah, whatever. And that's something that really stuck with me. So I'm going to perform a piece I wrote called Playground. The reason why I write poetry is because it helps me. It genuinely does. It really helps me. If I don't write, I get so mad at myself, and I have to find a time or a place to sit down, or when I'm driving, I'm not on my phone when I'm driving. I literally pull over in a hard shoulder and put my hazards on and write if something comes to me, because it allows me to express myself, and we all need to do that. And I'm a big fan of traditional art, so things like football. I mean, the football is an art, though. It is an art. Football, drama, dance, whatever it is, and getting out there and sweating and releasing endorphins. Not saying that's going to cure everyone's mental health issues, but it will certainly help in maintaining a good mental health. And I think in today's world, we lose that. Our intelligence is artificial and it can't breathe, and that upsets me. Going to schools, everyone's on an iPad, Angry Birds and whatever, and no one's climbing over a fence or doing anything. So that led me to this piece I wrote called Playground. And I'll be around with Stephen, who I work with, who works with me. And if anyone wants to come talk to us at the end, feel free to do so. And I hope you enjoy it. I need to fall in love with the world again. I need to see things the way I used to see them when I was 10. So give me 9 boxes of chalk and let me play hopscotch. A blanket and a mattress and I'll make a castle, I'll sit there on night watch. Somebody please put a tooth under my pillow. I'm praying this fairy flies through my window. I'm singing B-I-N-G-O because bingo was his name-o. I need a blue paper towel to wipe away all my worries. The sweet shops on Fridays to get sweets for my little tummy. I owned a packed lunchbox, a book bag. My name was stuck on a tray. Stories by the road dial. You know the BFG never led any of us astray. I'm holding my breath before I make my birthday wish. We didn't have SpongeBob and Finding Nemo. We had the rainbow fish. Running through the playground, Bulldog was mental. We had the deepest conversations around the classroom bin whilst sharpening our HB pencils. Let me run to the back of the coach on a school trip. I felt like Dumbledore put the sorting hat on my head and was like, Hussain, you're chosen for this. McDonald's drive-thru, we're talking to this robotic person who gives you whatever you want. Each time it comes in this small little box with a small little person. I can remember the day a nosebleed would be the worst possible disaster. And being from Ilford, parents even had me scared of going home after. And sometimes I really wonder if it's still there. The back of my GCSE desk when I wrote Hussain was here. WWF, don't try this at home, didn't stop any of us from wrestling. Christian had a BMX, we broke his stump heads and his chains, and that's how fast we were pedaling, and the animals went in 2 by 2. Hurrah, yeah, hurrah. I was still convinced the staff room was a secret hidden theme park. Toys are a million, all under one roof, but Toys R Us was too expensive to go, and that's just the truth. We all discovered Eminem and learned how to rap. I know for a fact. Each one of you remember that one kid in school that didn't give a shit and would jump over the playground wall to get your footballs back. I was dancing with my trainers that light up. Nobody could ever stop me. I was not raised on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. I was not raised on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. It was an era of football stickers, Beyblades, and yellow Tamagotchis. When Aaron broke his arm, we graffitied his sling. You knew it was going to be a mad rave when you walked into the school hall and saw a packet of party rings. And do you want to know something I can do? I never figured out Pythagoras. But if you give me a scientific calculator, I'll type a few numbers, I'll turn it upside down. Excuse me, miss, I know how to write boobs. And our paper planes would glide effortlessly through our classroom stratosphere. And if it hit the back of someone's head, you face the wall. And your best mate looks at you and goes, yeah. And that brings us to sports day, where we're all 100-meter sprinters, Windows XP users, printing stuff from these crap HP inkjet printers. We've all had our 1-hour detentions for our fake parent signatures, non-uniform day, tracksuit wearers, bus top riders, cake and custard eaters. We are and always will be the wet play war survivors. Now, Sabrina was a teenage witch. And Helga always used to bully Arnold. Kel loved orange soda, and I've never seen an episode in my life of anybody winning Takeshi's Castle. And that's why sometimes in life I feel like my luck's up, because I'd give anything in the world for one more game of heads down, thumbs up. So let me mime in singing assemblies, I never knew the songs. Let me lean back on my chair because I only learn when I'm wrong. Let me bring sherbet straws to the disco. Let me feel like a don. Let me relive all the memories of the playground, because that's where I belong, the playground. That's where we would all handle our business. The land of the young, wild, free, freaky, and ambitious. We're trying to figure out, which one of us is going to be the richest? But some of us were behind bike shirts, shirts tucked out, face covered in kisses. I said I need to fall in love with the world again. I wish I could see things the way I used to see them when I was 10. So give me 9 boxes of chalk, or 10, and let me play hopscotch. A blanket and a mattress, and I'll build a castle, I'll sit there on night watch. Let your kids mime in singing assemblies. Nobody cares if they don't know the songs. If you're at work, lean back on your chair if you only learn when you're wrong. Take sherbet straws to the leaving party if that's going to make you feel like a don. But never in your life forget the memories of the playground. Because deep down, that's where we all belong. Come on. Thank you. So I'll just leave you with the quote I started with, is we are brothers, friends, colleagues, people, are we not? And we may candidly say what we think. And I just want to say from my personal experience, if you feel like you can't tell the people you're working with or your friends what you're really going through, then unfortunately you may need to reevaluate who these people are in your life. Because it's a difficult thing, I know, believe me, I know firsthand, it's real hard. You think it might be a burden, it might be this, it might be... If you're spending a lot of time with people and you care about them and you think they care about you, use that as an opportunity to tell them. And one thing that really helps me is a gratitude journal. Every night, I write down 3 things that made me happy in the day. So 3 small things. For example, today I would say, I woke up. That's a pretty good thing to be happy about, do you know what I mean? Imagine I didn't wake up and my life was finished. Secondly, I bought a new pair of trainers. I know they look nice. And thirdly, I get to meet all of you. So honestly, write a gratitude journal. It really helps. Even if you're not experiencing mental health issues or just anything, it's really good to reflect back on life. And anyway, that's me, Hussain. I'm around. Say hello. All right.